Today's I wanted to address this special session is about the Dzogchen about now. This is a very special session. I never done, publicly say something Dzogchen, but this is the first time I'm talking about it publicly, name of Dzogchen. But today, as I like, talk real experience about Dzogchen and also our time, special our time, this challenging times is, how Dzogchen is affect, powerful, and transformative our lives. And that's really I explore. And then also I'm explore Dzogchen Tantras, Dzogchen masters, what they say, what they're to say. First, I want to say it's Dzogchen Tantras. Dzogchen Tantras are like there's a very first Tantra called Da Tangir Savijit. Is the fundamental Dzogchen Tantra. This Tantra says, there's some, our time is the best practice Dzogpa Chimbo. And our time right now, and because degeneration times means degeneration time is really right now. What the degeneration means, like people have so many obstacles, life obstacles, people have living well-being. We are living this world, have so many obstacles, the disease, sickness, war, many obstacles called, that's first called degeneration time. Life has more obstacles. And second is, we have so many, our negative emotions are very strong right now. The anger, the sadness, unhappiness, depression, and all these things are more turbulent than before. That's generation time and negative emotions. And then that's generation time of views, point of views, and belief systems. This is, we have more fanatics right now and also polarizing so much belief systems, ideology. Can families separate, friends separate, the religion or politics or everything are really so turbulent. That is called view generation. Degenerate our view and belief systems. And all these things are like called degeneration times. And the Dzogchen Tantra says, then right now at that time, Dzogpa Chimbo teachings are come to save the humanity. There's particularly Dzogchen Tantra talk about this Rigpa and naturally rising awareness. I think you talk about. And there says four few signs, but I think one is lifespan, so many obstacles, shorter. And second is people are busy, very busy. Busy time, people have no time to focus so many yanas. Many years you studying and then do practice, they don't have that. They need just very pithy instruction, very easy to understanding, very practical, very straightforward. Therefore, people are busy. This is Dzogchen is come from, Dzogchen is relevant, people are busy. That's another way. That Dzogchen Tantra talk about it, busy. And then don't have much time. And then this is, that time is sometimes, Dzogchen is more effective than any other yanas, because other yanas do so many things need to do. Maybe talk about 3-4 years, 10 years, a lifetime. Dzogchen is, some Dzogchen teachers, 2-3 years of talk about liberation. Gypsy tradition is 6 days, 6 months of liberation. Even ordinary people, if you know the Dzogchen, you can free your suffering immediately. Sometimes we call that self-liberation, free its own place. I'm talking about later, but they can free their own suffering immediately this moment. Dzogchen Chimbo wisdom can do, no other yanas. Therefore, busy time, they say Dzogchen is busy time is very important because very straightforward, no many things to do, but just really straightforward. And then other thing is, people are complicated that time. When people are, it's really people are spoiled, complicated, that time also Dzogchen is more relevant because that's really this Dzogchen Tantra talk with a few different kinds signs of Dzogchen. It's really, and then there's more obstacles, external obstacles, so much, external obstacles we don't have many dangers before. People living simply. Now we can fall into sky. There's bombs, there's, military, there are bombs, there's poison gas, the environment is not safe, many different places, so many external obstacles. Internal obstacles, also disease, there's so many disease we can face every day, we know that. And then also there's especially internal obstacles. Internal obstacles, the sign is people are so much mentally, emotionally, people so much agitation, anguish, and lots of judgment, lots of point of views, we talk about that, and also depression, anxiety, fear, stress. That these things are like sign of Dzogchen Chimbo is right to the world. These things, especially mentally, emotionally, people are, uncomfortable and conflict. I think at that time, Dzogchen Chimbo is relevant. They said, there's huge disease, we need to have strong medicine, When there's disease, then their medicine appear. But there's no disease, medicine never will appear, medicine never appear. Similarly, there's tremendous mental, emotional challenges, anger, suffering. These things, then Dzogchen Chimbo, teachings appear. Humanity saved mentally, emotionally. I can see that. I see that many, many different times, many different masters throughout shows. If you have using Dzogchen Chimbo tool, you can free anxiety, fear, agitation, stress, everything. 5-6 different ways. 5-6 different ways. Or when you know the Dzogchen Chimbo nature mind here, nature mind, you realize nature mind, and you realize your pristine awareness, you can 5 different ways free your own neurosis. That's really hard. Therefore, the more difficult time right now, we have the special technique to Dzogchen Chimbo can how to free our negative emotions. That's really our Dzogchen Chimbo teachings mostly address that. How to free inner obstacles, internal obstacles. That's really are therefore like that. Inner obstacles. Then secret level obstacles means like hesitation, doubt, subtle thoughts, emotions, like especially unconscious thoughts, emotions. All these things are like Dzogchen Chimbo teachings really, really work. Especially, I heard something like that. We are mostly mostly everyday influence everybody is subconscious thoughts, yeah. But how to work subconscious thoughts? The Dzogchen Chimbo is best way to clean up your subconscious thoughts. Why? The reason is Dzogchen Chimbo teachings goes deep into your mind. You know, talk about when you look at the Dzogchen Chimbo, when I stay really remaining Dzogchen Chimbo teachings, you really nature of mind. When you remain in pristine awareness, that means clean up subconscious thoughts. I don't know any other way how to clean up subconscious thoughts other than Dzogchen Chimbo. I was studying many years, but I thought, oh, really? If you know the Dzogchen Chimbo, really you can clean up your subconscious thoughts. I noticed that there's many different reasons you have that. Because first is, you realize Dzogchen Chimbo is not talking about, what we perceive, what is fundamentally are. What's really nature of your consciousness? What's really nature of your mind? Directly. They're not interested in clouds, they're interested in blue sky, yeah? Beyond a cloud, there's blue sky, yeah? Similarly, beyond your mental events, there's the nature of mind, nature of consciousness. Dzogchen Chimbo teachings are addressing is how to recognize your fundamental nature, pristine awareness of nature mind, how to maintain that. That's the best way you clean any conscious level thoughts, emotions, or subconscious level thoughts, emotions. Therefore, I think that's really there's external obstacles. External obstacles, we are talking about many dangerous defense. And then there's called, this practice called Vajrakalaya practice. We are doing right now Vajra armor, or like this, Rath von Guru Rinpoche. Last, they call these things remove external obstacles, also internal obstacles, both. And then also, there are some internal obstacles when you introduce Dzogchen Chimbo teachings and negative thoughts, emotions, and how they're free simultaneously. They free that, and that's really they talk about that. And then these things are a sign of Dzogchen Chimbo's relevant right now. That's Dzogchen Tantra says. Dzogchen Tantra Da Tanjir Savi Jit. The literally translated Da means sound, Tanjir means free. It runs through free sound Tantra or something like that. Therefore, this Tantra is very important. And then I also recently watched YouTube video. My teacher in Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche went to France, maybe 1993, and I think Rigpa Dharma Center, and he's talking about this Tantra. He says, this Tantra talk about which century, certain centuries, many men are free of Dzogchen Chimbo. Again, freedom, liberation from many men. Certain centuries, Dzogchen Chimbo teaches free many women reach enlightenment. The 20 years ago, the Dzogchen master in Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche talk about this century. He says many women reach enlightenment through Dzogchen. This Dharma Tantra says each century is different times. Maybe many monks, sometimes many men, other, or many women. This time he says many women liberating. He look at the Dzogchen Tantras and the Dharma many women liberating from Dzogchen Chimbo teachings of rich enlightenment. And that's 20 years, like 1993. I think 1993 is like, I don't know how many years ago. You can tell. You give the calculate, like 1993. 1930 tell, but still many years need to go that. That means he says, this Tantra is really all Dzogchen Tantra, source of Dzogchen Tantras. And also there's prophecy about Fengchenba. And then also many other Dzogchen masters always have come to this world. Dzogchen teachings come from that. Yeah, and then that really are many other Dzogchen Tantras talk about people have difficult time, people are complicated, and people have, it says complicated, people become complicated. Then Dzogchen Bachimbu teachings are like more than in other yanas, this is become also helpful. Talk about that. He says them some Dzogchen Tantras, people broken vows, cannot maintain vows, and then Dzogchen Chimbo teaching come, and then other Dzogchen teaching says people, the more people are complicated, we don't want to bend in everything, Oh, people are complicated, let's not everybody retreat. Dzogchen Chimbo don't say that. Dzogchen Chimbo, if we want to help people complicated, we want to help people, emotional, we want to help people are, how do you say, strange, we need help everything, this is. We need help everything, this is, Other yana says, oh, someone's broken vow, I don't think so, that's, I don't want to teach that. Someone's doing that, then always, blame others. Dzogchen Chimbo says, no problem, we can take care. How much, we can take care, we want to take care of all humanity, People are difficult, of course they're difficult. People are complicated, of course they're complicated because they're controlled by negative emotions. And this is, we want to help that. This is, we want help. That's really Dzogchen Tantra is. Most people, oh, I don't want to do that, this is, the more you have these kind of difficulties, the more there's compassion, there's more best techniques to the world, and then it's not give up the people and just help the humanity about different times, came different teachings. Like it's the more there are more medicines. When disease comes, there's more technology, or there's science, and also art. Many things appear. But humanity's fortune. Therefore, also humanity's fortune. Also, there's here Dzogchen Chimbo teachings here and give humanity happiness, well-being, enlightenment. Also, give humanity relieve their suffering and fear, anxiety. Also, comfort humanity. If you read Dzogchen Chimbo teachings, they comfort you. They comfort you. Therefore, that's really our Dzogchen Chimbo Tantras talking about that. And Tantras. And then there are some Dzogchen masters. Dzogchen masters like Guru Rinpoche Pama Sambhava. Guru Rinpoche Pama Sambhava's teaching is focus right now, our time. He sent directly 100 techtons. 100 techtons means 100 treasure revelers. Throughout 1,000 years, and since 8th century, Guru Rinpoche Pama Sambhava sent this world 100,000 masters. Longchen Jamtu, Jam Chinti Ombo, Pontu Lotum Tai, Mapam Jamgo Mapam Rinpoche, Yongyama Ozer, Dungeon Rinpoche, Chinti Rinpoche, include everything is messenger, also helping for the humanity. Guru Rinpoche Pama Sambhavas send that, and also send in hundreds of thousands of teachings. This time, many centuries, and these things shows Guru Rinpoche biography. I think that this is a very special teaching called treasure teachings. Terchu, like Terchu. There's Anamchu is Terchu, Anamchu is Terma, and Danjong Terser and Dzogchen teachings. And there are many other Pamma Lomba. There are many Terchus. These things are all in Guru Rinpoche Pamma Sambhavas sending. This. People sending different things, sending lots of, masks, sending, lots of medicine, sending, many things every world, different food, they're sending food, different places, people need. They are similar in Guru Rinpoche, Pamma Sambhavas sending 1,000 years relief, humanities relieve their suffering, hundreds of thousands masters he sent, hundreds of thousands treasure teachings he sent. They call relieve human, all beings, suffering, unhappiness, gaining them happiness, well-being, enlightenment. All these things are like that. I think that very much each treasure teachings talk about details, how to serve, how to help in that prayer time. Sometimes, they're called, I think you're familiar, this called, each Terton's name is Longpa, Lingpa, Jingme Lingpa, Denjum Lingpa, Chaktiran Lingpa, Pamma Lingpa. Lingpa, that what Lingpa means? It means prayer time. His period, that period time benefit certain different kind conditions, benefit certain time, they call period time is called Lingpa. And that's really another like that. And particularly, I think Jamgo Mapon Rinpoche, he's talking about, this is very especially his teaching style. He says, the Jamgo Mapon Rinpoche says, how much the dark is night, the more dark is night, the more morn is brilliant. There's more light here. The more dark is night, the more is brilliant. He says, the more we have, humanity have challenges, difficulties, disease, sickness, conflict, the more Guru Pama Sambhava's activities like brilliant moon, shining everywhere. What that means, right now we have this, difficult time. You can prayer, Samantabhadra prayer in Guru Rinpoche, and also, and then receive Dzogchen Chimbo teachings. You can, even the things are dark, there's illumination, there's illuminate. Dzogchen Chimbo teachings can free your mind, give you well-being, happiness, enlightenment in this lifetime, and give you happiness, well-being, midst of difficulty. At this give, Mapon Rinpoche, here his, teachings, Jamgo Mapon Rinpoche's teachings are, like that. And then the other time is, I think that's really our mostly masters talking about that. Especially, I was very fortunately received many things from my teacher, the master, Jingme Pantsol Rinpoche. His teachings mainly talk about this. He said 8 yanas, there's called 9 yanas. 8 yanas are like almost like star, it's like star. But Dzogchen Chimbo is like sun. There are many stars. Stars, they have light, but not like sunlight. He says, the 8 yanas are like stars. But Dzogchen Chimbo is like sun. Illuminates every more brilliant, more powerful. He gave you another place. He gave Dzogchen Chimbo like Garuda. Garuda, He says, for example, he gave like example, there's some very, I don't know how to say this, but properly, there's some 2 mountains between there, 2, very steep mountains between. So many, rush river like that, very intensely. The mountains are very dangerous in terrain. River, very strong river rush to very strongly that kind. That place can says only Garuda can fly. He says Garuda can fly. That kind of terrain, that kind of dangerous place, Garuda can fly. The Garuda means like very king of birds. He says similarly, these days and it difficult internally, externally, there's so much turbulent. Dzogchen Chimbo only can fly. He's talking about these things in many different places. And then that's really reason I think I don't want to go more. There's more talk about Dzogchen masters, Dzogchen teachings, Dzogchen Tantras, talk about Dzogchen is relevant about right now. But there are many different things. But right now is Dzogchen Chimbo teachings are really relevant. Therefore, I think people need to know how to practice, receive Dzogchen teachings. It's very important. And now in the future, right now we have faced obstacle this time, but this is maybe the beginning. There's more to come. We don't know. I hope not. There's, what happened next 10, 20 years, no one knows. Therefore, I think studying Dzogchen Chimbo is very important to future your lives. Therefore, studying Dzogchen Chimbo and also learning more Dzogchen Chimbo, I think that's very important. And what is really Dzogchen Chimbo is, I want to talk a little bit story. Dzogchen Chimbo came from India to Tibet. First is brought up for 2 different lineages. One is Ngurpa Masambawa, Dakini heart teachings, Ngurpa Kandu Nyingtik. And the other is Bamtada Vimala Minta, is Bima Nyingtik, Bimala Minta teaching Dzogchen style. The other is translate Berotana. All these things are Dzogchen, 3 masters bought Dzogchen Chimbo teachings from Otayana and Bodh Gaya. See many Dzogchen masters. And I think the Berotana, Lotsawa Berotana is very important. There's 3 Lotsawas, translators, are very important. Translate Dzogchen teachings to Tibetan language. Berotana, Chogrohli Jamson, Kawa Parzo. These 3 Lotsawas are very important to, there are many other things but they are very important about translating Dzogchen teachings. Especially this Berotana is very special translator because when we look at the Dzogchen Chimbo teachings, Tibetan language, very fresh, very clear, very experiential. Why fresh, clear, experiential? The really reason is Berotana is, the translator Berotana is master of that. Because he's not just only learn Tibetan, he's knows Sanskrit language very well. But the reason is when there's a story I can tell you. This story is when Guru Padmasambhava, the Shantong Rakshata, both came to Tibet, and then King Chetongdeb and Tibetan King Chetongdeb together, and then they're teaching children have Sanskrit language, but no one understands. It's very pronunciation is totally wrong. And then King is very disappointed. How we can do, people cannot learn of Sanskrit, then how do you translate? Then Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava predict these three Lodzawas. Berotana, Chagrokli, Jansen, Gawaparta. And then Berotana, King himself went to the family, says, oh, there's the Berotana, like boy and Guru Padmasambhava's King Chetongdeb, he's the best one if you found him. And then King went to himself, look into that boy, and then he arrived, the boy, and then the science really recognized that boy is real, the Berotana. And then King asked the parents, I want your boy, you will, train translator. And the family says, we have only one son. How you can take everything? I don't have anything. Please don't take my son. We don't want to give. King says, no problem. I take care of your both. Both come to me. And King brought all his family, parents together, and then near him, and then King support all entire family. And then Boyotana is trained. When he's 7, around 7 area, 8 to everything. Best education he got. He says that he has best food and best education, and his job is to translate that. Studying Sanskrit, Tibetan, and then he sent India. He stayed India 25 years. Dzogchen master Shirsongha. There's Dzogchen master Shirsongha. He spent 25 years Dzogchen master Shirsongha starting Dzogchen teachings. And then Dzogchen master Shirsongha, 25 years, he came back to Tibetan, and then he translated the translated Berotana as #1 translation. Why he's special? The reason is he's not looking dictionaries. I don't know at that time dictionaries there. But most Berotana's teachings come from his experience. It's not like intellectual, but he needed to do meditation. He did do Dzogpa Chimbo, realize Dzogpa Chimbo nature mind, and then many years do meditation. And when you do many years of meditation, then vocabulary is very fresh, come from his own fresh experience, awareness. Like most Dzogchen vocabulary teachings like Sarva, Tongwa, Yereva, Hameva, all these things, Dzogchen terms, it come from Berotana's, not come from intellectual mind, but come from his fresh experience. Fresh, clear, and experiential, and powerful. Therefore, Dzogchen teachings are not like any other language. For example, like Madhyamaka, for example, not come from, look like you don't come from fresh awareness. Everything's very technical, everything's very philosophical. You see, very different than Dzogchen. Like Abhidharma or like Madhyamaka, everything's really intellectual. Like it's really, really that way. Someone's really thinking very, and then come from like that. But Dzogchen teachings are not like, it's very, the language is totally different. Came very fresh, very transformative, very powerful. It came from Dzogchen master, Padmasambhava, Birmalaminta, Berotana. There came from their fresh experience. Fresh experience means like, it's not like came from anywhere, it just came from fresh, almost like came from organic, came from your own farm, like farmers pick up their own farm. Similar, the fresh, their experience, therefore the language structure is very profound. I think Tibet, so many teachings about it. Dzogchen Mahamudra is, I think the only one is really practical and fresh, still lineage alive. And many things right now is we can talk about it's really hard to practice really. Dzogchen Mahamudra is still fresh, and we have the strong lineage until now, still very strong, their lineage system. And how to give teachings and how to introduction the nature mind, everything's very clear, unbroken lineage survive until now. Therefore, that's really our Dzogchen Chimpo teachings are like language is very fresh, come from powerful experience. It's not like come from intellectual exercise. And then therefore, I was if you face this, our generation, our time, this world, if you really want to feel happiness, well-being, you enjoy the world, you must start in Dzogchen. That's really give everything. If you have good conditions, when you have, if you have good conditions, like for example, you have everything, but if you have faced difficulty, for example, these past 10, 20 days, doesn't matter how much you are good conditions, people need to go, sick, people have mentally, emotionally, so much. Doesn't matter how much famous won't help when things are difficult. Doesn't matter how much money you won't help. Doesn't matter how handsome or beautiful or how much you're high, low. Doesn't matter. Everyone suffers equally. But when you have the possessed Dzogchen Chimpo teachings, you have less suffering. There's more power, more dignity, and shine from. You also not you can help other people. And they call midst of difficult, you found light. It's Dzogchen Chimpo teachings, really relevant right now. And I think that I don't need to talk to, but everybody knows this is a very important teaching right now. Everybody knows this. And I think everybody here participating, some level have Dzogchen Chimpo teachings or some level interested, maybe that's really reason I'm talking about it here. And then this is unusual teaching because I talk to everybody, many different beginners, but today I think someone is familiar like that. And then that's really reason I have here, I think number one is right now, and Dzogchen Chimpo teachings are shining, saving your life, and saving everything. I think I don't want to go many details. I translate last year, 2 years ago, called Kamzong Molam, Dzogchen Chimpo Aspiration. I think, and everyone should meditate right now. Everyone should meditate, remaining. If remaining with Rigpa, that's best. Or pristine mind, even just meditating. And then I think Josh will read about this Kamzong Molam and few places we can have. Few places we can have. Few places we can have meditating. Therefore, they'll pause places and then let's experience of Dzogchen Chimpo wisdom from the treasure teachings of northern treasure teachings called Gongpa Zongtar as this powerful aspiration. And everybody just don't follow past, don't anticipate in future, stay present moment, leave your mind alone, just listen of this fresh, powerful Dzogchen aspiration. Josh, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen along with Sarah and Karen, who are also supporting the live stream today. The Dzogchen aspiration of Buddha Samantabhadra. Ho! Everything that exists in samsara or nirvana is from one source, yet with two paths and two results based on the power of awareness or unawareness. Through the aspiration of Buddha Samantabhadra, may everyone be completely awakened in the palace of the essential, boundless nature of reality. The fundamental source of everything is free of causes, categories, and conditions. It is naturally present, endlessly expansive, and beyond expression, where not even the name of samsara or nirvana exists. If you recognize this, you are enlightened. If you do not recognize this, you wander in samsara. May all beings throughout the universe realize this fundamental, inexpressible source. This is how I, Buddha Samantabhadra, became naturally aware of this fundamental source, free of conditions. There is no outer or inner, nothing to exaggerate or underestimate in this experience. The darkness of forgetfulness doesn't obscure it. Therefore, my own perception has never been distorted. I live in naturally present awareness. If the entire world collapses, there is no fear. I am not bewildered by pleasure drawn from the five senses. Naturally present awareness has no conceptual thinking, no tangible form, and none of the five negative emotions. It is constant and clear, yet has the five aspects of one enlightened awareness. From the manifestation of the five enlightened awarenesses, the first five Buddhas appear. From this, enlightened awareness expands, and the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. From the rays of the five enlightened awarenesses, the 60 wrathful Buddhas appear. Therefore, fundamental awareness was never distorted. I am the original Buddha. Through my aspiration, may all beings throughout the universe recognize naturally present awareness, and may it expand fully to completion. My emanations appear ceaselessly in countless thousands, millions, and billions. They appear in whatever forms are beneficial or necessary. Through my enlightened compassion and aspirations, all beings throughout the universe, may you exit the 6 realms of samsara.
Rest. Just pause. Begin.
When all beings first became confused, it was because you failed to recognize the fundamental source. You became oblivious and bewildered. This is unawareness. It is the source of all distortion. From that state of unconsciousness, you begin to experience subtle anxiety. From there, you start to identify with yourself and resent others. Gradually, this habit is reinforced. From that, a vicious circle begins. Then the 5 negative emotions grow. The consequence of the 5 negative emotions are continuous. Therefore, the source of all beings' distortion is obliviousness and unawareness. My aspiration as a Buddha, may everyone realize their own awareness. Coinciding unawareness is to be unmindful and distracted. The unawareness of judging and labeling is to identify self and other. These 2 unawarenesses are the source of all beings' distorted experience. My aspiration as a Buddha, may all beings in this cyclic existence awaken from this blinding obliviousness and confusion. May your consciousness become pristine. may you realize your own awareness.
Let's rest that moment, that state.
When you identify self and other, there is a moment of confusion, which creates a subtle attraction of something to be held. Gradually, you build stronger tendencies: food, position, home, family, enjoyment through the five senses, and loved ones, all intensify desire and attachment. This is how the world of confusion is created. The actions of distorted mind are endless. When the fruit of attachment to desire ripens, you are reborn as a hungry, insatiable being. You are tormented, ravenous, and terrified. My aspiration as a Buddha: may all beings affected by desire and attachment not reject the experience of craving, nor accept the experience of desire. Rest your mind in the present moment and gain stability with your own awareness. May you attain all-knowing, enlightened awareness.
Rest that state.
As you perceive external conditions, subtle fear and anxiety arises. As tendencies of resentment become more reinforced, powerful hatred and tangible violence build. When the fruit of anger and hatred ripens, you experience the torment of burning and boiling in hell. My aspiration as a Buddha: all beings throughout the universe, when anger and rage arise, don't reject or accept that experience. Rest your mind in the present moment. Having stabilized your own awareness, may you attain the clarity of enlightened awareness.
Remain in that state.
When you become proud, then you denigrate others in fierce rivalry and develop strong arrogance. You experience the suffering of clashing and conflicting with others. When the fruit of this arrogance ripens, you experience the suffering of the gods, losing status and falling to lower realms. My aspiration as a Buddha: all beings, when arrogance arises, rest your mind in the present moment. Having realized the natural state of awareness, may you attain the enlightened wisdom of equanimity.
Rest that state.
Reinforced by the habit of personal reactions, you create the stress of praising yourself and denigrating others. Then, clashing rivalries and conflict develop. The consequences are killing, maiming, and birth as a demigod. The ultimate result is to fall to the hell realm. My aspiration as a Buddha: when rivalry and conflict arise within your mind, don't treat others as enemies, but rest in the present moment. Having realized the natural state of mind, may you attain the awareness of an invincible, enlightened mission.
Rest that state.
By being forgetful, apathetic, and distracted, your mind becomes dull, inattentive, and dense, then unconscious, lazy, and ignorant. The result is to wander powerlessly in the animal realm. My aspiration as a Buddha: may the dusk of dullness and ignorance be illuminated by radiant mindfulness, and may you attain enlightened awareness free of concepts. all beings throughout the universe, their fundamental nature is the same as mine, a Buddha. But you have forgotten, and it is the source of all your problems and delusions. Now you wander without purpose in cyclic existence. These 6 actions are just crazy dreams. I am the first Buddha. The 6 realms are freed by my emanations. My aspiration as Buddha Samantabhadra, may all beings without exception awaken in the essential, boundless nature of reality. Aho. When the undistorted awareness of a powerful practitioner naturally radiates, they recite this powerful aspiration, and all beings who hear it will awaken to enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During solar and lunar eclipses, earthquakes, summer and winter solstices, and at the end of the year, visualize yourself as Buddha Samantabhadra. Chant this prayer for all to hear. When powerful practitioners make this aspiration, all beings throughout the universe will gradually be free from all forms of suffering and ultimately attain completely perfect enlightenment. This prayer was taken from the Tantric scripture Dzogchen Buddha Samantabhadra's Unimpeded Enlightened Mind, in the 9th chapter titled The Recitation of the Powerful Prayer in which all beings inevitably become Buddha, discovered by the great treasure revealer Rigzin Godem.
Okay, that's it. That's the share today. We are reading together as experience to the Dzogpa Chimbo, Samantabhadра's aspiration. I think today our subject is Dzogchen is right now time, and therefore I think I tell you comfortably, if you know the Dzogchen, you have some degree understanding or experience is the best, but you have some degree understanding. I think you have life is different living this world. Some extraordinary teachings because it change your perception. It's high quality perception. Dzogpa Chimbo teachings gave you, extraordinary perception in this world. Therefore, the best way to live in this world is, I think I'm my own, I know many, there are many different ways, the best techniques, teachings, books, but so far I say is I know, I don't know other people, but I know my own. I was familiar many books about Western, Eastern, many things, but so far also many books and about Buddhist, many books, the hundreds of thousands, but best way is, the Dzogpa Chimbo. I think their human life is, extraordinary and living very fully. You have the understand Dzogpa Chimbo means actually understand Dzogpa Chimbo means understanding your consciousness. That means you live your consciousness is free about distortions. That's Dzogpa Chimbo. Your consciousness is free any pollutions and any kind. That's Dzogpa Chimbo. You can live, like someone's living with pristine environment. There's no pollutions. There's no toxics. The living environment is very pristine quality, like force, nature like that. If you live there and you're physically healthy, it's very clean place. Yeah. Similarly, Dzogchen Chimbo is the mentally, emotionally, physically very pristine, living pristine, natural place. The most beautiful environment. And these examples are like Jamgo Mapon Rinpoche. He gave good examples. His examples are universal. He always gave universal examples. The other is he gave, season, like summer and, summer and spring. He says this is very special. This is very important to know. For example, the winter time, like for example, East Coast, New York, like Tibet, many places in this world is frozen. Yeah. Why is frozen? Like it's frozen, the ground is frozen, no flowers, no trees alive. Everything life is frozen. Why? You know why? Because temperature goes down. When your temperature goes down, everything's frozen. When frozen, everything's frozen. There's no flowers. There's no trees, leaf. Yeah, there are no vegetables grow. Similarly, saying similar. When human mind is really ego, negative thoughts, emotions, all these things are very directly your present. That means your life is like winter time. Your mind, mental environment is everything's frozen. He says, for example, and when spring comes, when spring comes and all snow is melting, all flowers blooming, changed, yeah. And then when August, something like 100 degrees, like almost like 76 degrees, ice immediately melts. Ice cannot survive, yeah? There's no ice to survive because 75 degrees, 85 degrees. Similarly, he says, when Dzogchen Chimbo practitioner's mind is everything's pristine awareness, when everything pristine awareness, the negative thoughts, emotions cannot survive, they melt. Anger cannot survive pristine awareness. Fear cannot survive because like ice cannot survive like 75 degrees, yeah? There's no way, just melt, similar. If you remain in everyday pristine awareness, stress cannot survive, they melt, disappear. Fear, anxiety, stress, anger, jealousy, unhappiness, sadness, everything is melt, disappear because environment cannot support these things. When you're mentally, emotionally in a pristine awareness cannot support anger, sadness. Anger, sadness only support when your mind is controlled by thoughts, emotions. Yeah. Because Dzogchen Chimbo, someone has Dzogchen Chimbo wisdom, that person's mind cannot control by thoughts, emotions. And I was, when I wrote book, This Pristine Mind, they talk about predominant, yes, predominance. When you ordinary being, your mind is ordinary thoughts, emotions. They're predominant. More predominant, their control, their main, their center stage, your mind, yeah. When you are Dzogchen Chimbo practitioner, your predominant experience is pristine awareness, not thoughts, emotions, not like sadness, anger. If your predominant experience is pristine awareness, that means whether you're walking, talking, or like sleep, the predominant is pristine awareness means the thoughts, emotions, everything cannot, control. That means anything appears and then disappears. They call Pardo teachings, they are called living Pardos, called living Pardo. Living Pardo, living through listening, meditating, contemplating, you need to realize pristine awareness. When you die with the pristine awareness. That's very special. Dzogchen Chenpo teachings. Not only Dzogchen Chenpo teachings realize nature mind, but when you walk with pristine awareness, and Rigpa, or when you sleep with pristine awareness, it's very, how do you do? But if you can't do ordinary, you say, someone says, oh, I cannot do, walk in pristine awareness. That means someone saying, I cannot drink clean cup. I cannot drink water with clean cup. You can't drink water clean cup or dirty cup. You can't drink water golden cup or silver cup, or doesn't matter, cup. You can't drink all. Similar, you can walk, talk with the pristine awareness, or you can walk, talk with the distorted mind. They're both. Once you familiar, same, there's no difference. People think, oh, order to I survive, I need this ordinary mind, this complicated mind. That's saying someone, I want to drink water, I need most dirty cup, others I cannot drink, Without dirty cup, you can't drink. Without, similarly, without ordinary complicated mind, you can still engage in world more effectively. I think you can have pristine awareness, you're much more effective, like engage in this world. I think that's really all. Therefore, the Dzogchen Chenpo is the best tool of living or dying, walking and talking, everything. This is talk about Dzogchen teachings, especially 30 words of God of Dorji, most topic of this part. Okay, I think that's enough today's, like inspired to Dzogchen Chenpo teachings, or we need to become fearless, like comfort with Dzogchen Chenpo teachings, okay? Therefore, yeah, that's it. And then we have maybe a few questions, then we can finish. If there's any questions?
Yes, Rinpoche, there are a few questions here. So there are a few questions that are very similar in nature, so that are all related to the Dzogchen practice. So, people would like to know more about the Dzogchen practice itself. Is there going to be an opportunity for virtual Dzogchen teachings in the future, or can you tell us more about
I think people do ngondo. Ngondo means sometimes people do 500,000. I think that's best. But if you don't do 500,000, but you have take refuge sincerely, that's enough refuge. And then you have bodhicitta, means you have compassion. You are not like not compassion people, but you're a compassion person. That's bodhicitta. Someone is, and then doing some degree vajrasattva, and then Guru Rinpoche Pammāsambhava practice. And you don't need always, my point of view, you do regularly throughout your life. I'm saying, I'm, done. It's not like you do throughout your life. You do, and then same time practice Dzogchen Chenpo, and receive after that Dzogchen Chenpo. I mean, you can do some level. I was teaching last, this February, this February I taught Ngondo. The reason is I thought I want to prepare to teach in Dzogchen. I told people they don't need necessarily 500, but they need to have, necessarily, practice Ngondo. I think you do practice Ngondo regularly. I think that's enough. If you don't, even you cannot do 100%. Then I think receive Dzogchen teachings, anybody place. I think that's the qualifications after Dzogchen teachings. I think we should have, Dzogchen teachings. We are Western world. We live in the Western world. I think we need to have authentic Dzogchen teachers. We need to have authentic produce that. We need authentic Dzogchen teachings translated to the English language, and also very good, lineage holders. I think this is very important. I think we have the capacity that. Right now we have the capacity. Okay?
Thank you, Rinpoche. Can you please speak about the connection between Dzogchen and Mahamudra?
Oh, Dzogchen Mahamudra, Dzogchen is a little bit different. You know, Dzogchen is come from ancient teachings, and Mahamudra is new translation. You know, Dzogchen is like translated 8th century, you know, like from Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava or like Buddha Samantabhadra. Mahamudra is later, like I don't know, later 200, 300, 400 years called new translation. They come from mostly different lineage. Is, you know, like Sarahapa, you know, Telopa, Naropa, and that really are the Mahamudra is, you know, like that. And Mahamudra, there are 2 different lineage. The introduction style is a little bit different, you know. But I'm not that much familiar Mahamudra, and therefore, you know, the details, you know, there are different ways to come. Then some people have 2 lineages. They came from Dzogchen lineage, came from Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava has like Jamgon Kontra is a good example. Jamgon Kontra is 2 lineages possessed. Like Guru Rinpoche came from Guru Rinpoche lineage, also came from Tilopa, Naropa, Marba, came from that lineage. 2 different lineage. Jamgon Kontra, many Nyingma Kargyo Lamas have both lineages.
Could you please speak about how to work with strong emotions from a Dzogchen perspective as they arise suddenly and unexpectedly in the course of day-to-day life? Thank you.
I think negative emotions, I think first you need a familiar of Dzogchen, then you have the tool, you know. For example, you say, how do you lift in 100 pounds, something like that. And you need to train first, you need to train how to lift in, you know, carry things. And how do you walk 1 hour? In order to walk 1 hour, you need slowly walk, then you can gradually easy to walk 1 hour. Similarly, you challenge strong emotions, first you need a train of Dzogchen. And once you train the Dzogchen, and then slowly, you know how to free that. First, you need to know your mind is pristine awareness. Second is you need to know any emotions are not who you are, they're mental events. Thirdly, you know the mental events are illusory or illusion or virtual reality. If you have these realizations, easy to free mental events. And also sometimes Dzogchen is, you know, like they call Shartur. Shartur means liberating simultaneously that moment. Because if you know Dzogchen meditation, then you know how to free negative emotions. And that's really our learning Dzogchen is more, I think, the best way to have deal with negative emotions.
Rinpoche, can you speak about how to treat all experiences and appearances arising as a teacher within the context of Dzogchen teachings?
I think the Dzogchen contact, you know, like just everything experiences. It means everything, anything you see, hear, give you some lessons or teaching. You see the blue sky. Oh, beautiful sky, blue sky. Reminds me pristine awareness. You know, oh, sky is blue, clouds are temporary. Similar, my mind, oh yeah, my mind is pristine. The thoughts, emotions are just events like cloud. And that means you see every phenomena for you see as rise as teacher. Means the clouds teach you, the skies teach you. You see there's trees, you know, like almost rotting, you know, collapse, you know, that tree is like impermanent. Life is like that. Everything's impermanent, you know, like everything you see is become your ally. And that's really next Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday, I'm teaching exactly this topic.
Rinpoche, how many tertons again were there that Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava?
100 tertons, yeah, 100 tertons. There are many tertons, but they're very famous 100 tertons, treasure found. Mostly great lamas, they're they have their techtons, their techtons. Yeah, I really like my favorite so far. Tibetan Dharma is the number one. My favorite techtons teachings. They're very fresh, clear, transformative. Like Denjung Longpa's Terma teachings, like Chökchen Longpa, like Ranang Longpa. They're my favorite teachings, treasure teachings. Very not like any other that because very expression. You see, like there's two different things: treasure teachings, ordinary teachings. Ordinary teachings, there's human mind is involved. There's trace. There's some sign. Oh, this is human mind, right? The treasure teachings, this come from enlightened awareness, enlightened mind. There's two totally different. You read the style is totally different.
Rinpoche, and can you please repeat the three names of the Lotsawas again, slowly? There was Verotsana, and then the two.
Verotsana, Chogruchli, Jamsen, Gawa Partsok. They're the most responsible translating Dzogchen and Vajrayana teachings, like secrets and Tantra, many different things. They translate most Dzogchen Tantras.
People would like to know, Rinpoche, what was the name of your teacher, your Dzogchen master, and can you share a little bit about it?
My Dzogchen master is my Jigme Pencil Rinpoche. I will spend time 9 years studying with him, very fortunately, and I studied there with Jitsen Yingtik, Burma Lamenta tradition of Dzogchen, and then Hongchenba's Nyingtik Yabji, Lama Yongtik special teachings, and then also Hongchen Yingtik, and then also especially Yishib Lama or like that, and then particularly, I really like Mapom Rinpoche's Dzogchen style, or we have seen that. I received there many years, and I have opportunity to receive Turk Orgyen Rinpoche. I was Nepal, launching that, and Kamzong Tiktik from Chökchen Longpa, and also I met Tallinn Rinpoche. I'm from Denjong Tester teachings. I very fortunately a few Dzogchen masters. There's another few Tibetan, but they're the most famous ones. I have very fortunately many years starting with them. That's very, very fortunate.
Rinpoche, can you please speak more about Longchenpa's role in the Dzogchen tradition?
Longchenpa is, I think, before Longchenpa, I think Dzogchen is not much public. Dzogchen is not that much, like few people know, not much. But after Longchenpa, I think Dzogchen is really more expanded. He wrote 7 treasures and Nyingtik Yabji, Ngantru portion. Then after that, Longchenpa is main responsible, I think, publicly spread of Dzogpa Chimbo teachings. And I think that Longchenpa is King Tetong Debsan's daughter died when she's 80 years old. She died, and that really, when King Tetong Debsan, then King Tetong Debsan bought from Guru Rinpoche's cave, and then King's very upset because his daughters died. And then Guru Rinpoche wake up her and, like some reason, like gave empowerments, something, and then she passed away again. And that incarnation is Longchenpa. And the incarnation of Longchenpa is really a whole entire transformation of Guru Rinpoche. But the Guru Rinpoche tradition, Bamalamenta tradition, I think that Longchen Amjenpa, that's last or later, he has teacher is Rinzin Kamaratsa, also received many years of Dzogchen teachings. But Longchen Amjem is a very big important role of Dzogpa Chimbo lineage. It spread Dzogpa Chimbo in Tibet. I think it's very special Dzogchen master. And then also, after that, Rinzin Jingme Longpa also called start Longchen Yingtik.
So there's a couple questions about preparing for Dzogchen practices or Nundro practices. So one person has a question: how does one relax into Nundro practices? I get very fixated or fixed on accumulating the numbers versus the practice.
I think practice, you need, there's called, people say, there's quality and quantity. And to this, quality versus quantity. Quality means, quality is good, not need quantity. Fixing many numbers are not that important, but quality practice. If you take refuge sincerely, that's called quality practice. But you do other refugees, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, but your mind is nothing happened, that's quantity practice. Quantity means if you do many numbers, but your mind is nothing changing, your mind is, there's no take refuge, you don't not happening. But that's really quantity practice. Quality practice means even 5-6 times you say the word, but you sincerely, you take refuge, bottom your heart, that's called quality practice. Same as in other practice. We need a quality practice. Therefore, I think you need to know the Ngondo practice. You need to know powerful Ngondo, and so very practical. You need to know what you're saying. Sometimes people don't know what they're saying, but you need to know what you're saying. And it's very important in order to have quality practice.
Similarly, Rinpoche, is it important to practice shamatha meditation before Dzogchen?
Yes, that's really very important because if you have shamatha practice, that's really support your Dzogchen practice very well, because shamathas become the foundation of Dzogchen. But you can do without that, but with much better. You have much better place. All Dzogchen masters talk about that. And therefore, yeah, it's very important. If your mind is tranquil, then easy to recognize Rigpa, introduce nature mayors. Your mind is, like always wandering, then hard to understanding, introduce Dzogpa Chimbo, nature mind. Therefore, your mind is tranquil, easy to introduce. Therefore, shamatha is very important.
Is there a difference between Dzogchen and Pristine Mind practice? And if there is a difference, can you explain?
Yeah, Pristine Mind is part of Dzogchen, but when you talk about Dzogchen, it's more detailed. There's more details. Chakcho Torga is more details about more other techniques. Yeah, Pristine Mind is the foundation of that. That's really talk about it. Start there. Called same day, called mind class Dzogchen. There's 3 class: mind class, spacious class, the Pithical most highest class, but first class, the Pristine Mind belongs first class called same day.
Rinpoche, how can you please give some advice on how to connect more authentically or closer with certain practices? So one person says that they have difficulty connecting with the Green Tara practice. How can this person connect better? Right now, they currently do it once a week at the center. So
yes,
some advice.
I think cool. I think the better translation. I don't know how to translate. Sometimes you have a clear translation. That's best. That usually I notice many years clear, very powerful translation. Sometimes you need to know when you have that clear. Something is not clear. The practice you need to have clear translation. That's best. But sometimes you cannot connect Tara and image something that you need to know the qualities of Tara. You need to know the characteristics and the story a little bit, and then easy to connect. I think for me it's mostly, for example, this the story behind and the qualities and character. I think I like really characters qualities, not like, for example, like how wise, like why you appreciate Mapon Jamgo Mapon Rinpoche or Huang Chenpa. It's not that their image, but their qualities, characteristics, how much they've done. If you studying their teachings, you know their mind, you know their wisdom, and automatically, therefore, there's so much appreciation. They're from Until we receive teaching, reading books, I think know the qualities, characteristics, that's the best way to connect it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rinpoche. Here's another question about Nundro practice. So this person learned and practiced Nundro with another teacher and practiced regularly, but not formally learned Dzogchen. So, I practice shamatha, insight practice, open awareness, and this person wants to know if they can attend Dzogchen retreat and teachings when it's offered, because they want to make sure they study the Dzogchen style. Is that okay to do, or?
Yeah, you need to have Dzogchen Ngondo is connect. You need to start in Dzogchen teachings. You need to start in Dzogchen Ngondo. You need to study therefore Dzogchen Ngondo is like Nongchen Yingting Ngondo, Denjong Tesser Ngondo, they're too popular. They're Dzogchen Ngondos. Or Nam Chung Ngondo. There are three. If you do this all like Chakchen Wangba, Chakchen Tesser has Ngondo. All these things are Dzogchen Ngondos, like Bam Man Ling Bam, Chakchen Lingba, Denjong Tesser, all these things, Nongchen Yingting, they're all Dzogchen Ngondo. Anything Ngondo you do, you qualify anything Dzogchen. It's the same as, and they were Dzogchen Ngondos. Therefore, yeah, you can do that. And I think do the Ngondo and then just practice, receive Dzogchen teachings.
Rinpoche, can you maybe explain again the difference between an experiential translation, so someone who refer to a translation by a person who has realized the meaning of the text versus, a scholarly translation?
Scholar means you don't need realization. You need to have just learn the meaning and then just look at the dictionary, and then that really means that really means nothing to do with the experience. That, but just only intellectually. That way you translate is good. But the Berotana style is the first first they're doing is, for example, they know the meaning, they know the meaning, but then they practice meditation. When you practice meditation is, then words came from there fresh, and then very fresh. And then you say these words immediately. Most Vajra songs, like Malaripat's Vajra songs, his Vajra songs not came from he learn, let's write this Vajra song. Let's think about what we say next. No, it just came from spontaneous, naturally his awareness. Maladipa's Vajra songs. It's not like came from intellectual exercise. Similarly, translations came from, when they Dzogchen practice, you do many years, do practice, and then they translate anything, say, anything teaching or translating must be maybe fresh experience.
Okay, dear Rinpoche, I have received pointing out instructions for recognizing the nature of mind in the Mahamudra approach. I have recently had profound experiences through reading Dzogchen texts. However, I've heard that reading texts without receiving the teaching from a guru can be an obstacle. So my question is, should I not read Dzogchen texts and wait, or can I learn about Dzogchen through reading until I can receive the teachings?
Yeah, Tibetan tradition, we have Tibetan, we don't read Dzogchen teachings before receiving Dzogchen teaching. After we receive Dzogchen teaching, then read. Before no one's reading Dzogchen teachings. That's really many years. This is then you need to have fresh. The fresh. That's really that. The Western world is different. They read everything. Different things. But usually traditionally, you first receive Dzogchen teachings, then you read after that many Dzogchen translations and practice. But first, I think fresh teacher says anything's become fresh because you have no preconceived notions. Yeah. Therefore, that says you don't have any preconceived notions already. You read and you have know everything. There's no surprises. Yeah. And therefore, if you don't have preconceived notions, and then you have more, like surprises, and like in sudden experiences, and like fresh. Therefore, traditionally you don't read. throughout Tibet, and I never read Dzogchen teachings until I received Dzogchen. But whatever here, here there are many things available, but either way is fine. But usually you don't read that. That's really the tradition.
So I sometimes think the ease with which we can be distracted, entertained, and comfortable in modern life is a difficult obstacle relative to what people experienced when life was more difficult in the past. So right now it's a lot more easily, we can get more easily distracted in a modern day life than maybe, hundreds of years ago. So what advice from Shay do you have for working with how easy it is to fritter time away in a modern life so we can focus on something?
Yeah, modern life is very, like if everything's, what's problem is, Joe, we are, like this modern life is what is with this, like so much busyness, and we are easy to seduce, and then there's so much busyness, so much distraction, but we are not mindful. This is the medicine is how someone's really distracted, continually always busy, something very meaningless tributes. And what do? You need to realize, you need to contemplate precious human life. And you realize precious human life, you know what is really precious to do, what to waste time. Therefore, I have meditating precious human life. And second is, you need to realize everything's impermanent. It doesn't matter how much you entertain, and everything's loses, and everything's die. And life is uncertainty. If you do that, you have realized, you have conscious, you have not fooled by conditions. But you don't have, then we are fooled by conditions, and then suddenly we realize we are so many years past, but there's nothing, just almost like nothing achieved. Therefore, second is meditating impermanent and death. That's really help. Third is the nature of samsara. Samsara is really, like old age, sickness, death. There's so many different things. And you realize that, then you're a little bit more weak. You're not really continually obsessed with the conditions.
Wonderful, Rinpoche. There's only a few more questions here. So could you please give a short pith Dzogchen teaching online like this? Again, if we have specifically had refuge and have practiced.
Yeah, we can do something, but I'm not point introduction, but we can talk about helping the Dzogchen teens. So we can, another online weekend session, we are talking about the Dzogpa Chimbo teachings. I think that's fun. Most fun thing is talk about Dzogpa Chimbo teachings and lineage, Dzogpa Chimbo masters, their experiences, and then also I have lots of experience interacting many Dzogchen masters. I like to share this experience, and it's how the Dzogpa Chimbo teachings are a little bit talk about more of that. And then when you talk about real Dzogchen teaching, I think you need real teaching. Like using some text is very important. But we can talk about Dzogpa Chimbo someday, another online.
Everyone says thank you so much for this opportunity to learn and practice. And is there anything that we can do for you, Rinpoche?
My is in everybody's, like doing practice. And I think that's really my, do ngundu you have, and especially this time prayer or like relying on Guru Rinpoche's Dhamma Sambhava, and then is just start doing ngundu. Some people doing ngundu do that, and some people doing Pristine Mind or like any Dzogchen teachings. I appreciate people do that. That's offering for me. Thank you for everyone. Have a good day.